Welcome to the Understanding Mind. My name is James, and today we're going to be talking about how Satan rules over the earth, but in the sense how Jesus Christ also renews the earth as well. So a couple of days ago, I had posted a reel, and so I had a subscriber commented on one of my reels, and he was asking very distinguished questions that I believe was correct, and like in the sense that when he asked, it was like a very incomplete video. So with the time when I did post the video, I woke up like super late. I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I woke up and I had all these thoughts, and something was telling me to make the video. So then I just got the camera up, and then I just started filming. And through that sense, I realized that when I was like speaking, and I noticed that it was a very incomplete video, that I was just speaking my thoughts, but there was no like literature that was going behind it in order for me to prove my thoughts. As the days passed by, I was kind of curious on how I was going to, add more towards the video that I already had put out on my theology. So I guess this is the part 2 towards the first video that I already posted. So I very much appreciate you all. I'm very grateful for the fact that you had asked these questions, because I am always looking to learn. I'm intrigued on how you specifically describe and put in detail on the things that you know towards the things that you had commented. So I believe that's very good. And it also makes me do research on my own towards these things as well. Even though I spoke it, there's also the biblical term that shows it as well. So in this video, Satan is the ruler of the earth, but more in the sense it's within God's authority. So it's very temporarily. When the book of Revelation conducts itself, that is the fall of Satan. Satan was already defeated before, but he will be defeated again. He has the authority to allow temptation. We have the choice of free will. We have the choice of, adjusting and learning in the way of God and actually fulfilling our spirit towards our own actions, or we could fall through and slip through Satan's temptation that will kill us. Here are some examples on why Satan is the ruler. Here are actually some verses. There is John chapter 12, verse 31, which Jesus is speaking. Now is the judgment of the world. Now the ruler of the world will be cast out. And 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, the God of the world has blinded the minds of the unbelievers. And also when Jesus had the earthly ministry, and when he was out into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, and he was tempted by Satan, and that Satan was going to give him the authority to rule temples. But that is the sense of temptation, and that's also the reason why I had mentioned that we live in an illusion of material pleasures, because that is the sense of it, and that's temporary authority from the time he is here on earth. So even though Satan is the ruler of this earth, the Bible consistently teaches that God is ultimately in control. And Satan asked God for permission, for example, to test Job on how his relationship towards God is, and that's why he allows him to take away all the things that he has in his life. But because Job didn't fall into the lifestyle that Satan had put into his life, and he still stuck by God, that's why God provided him twice as much than he had before in the past. Alwyn actually mentioned the fact of renewal, of how we are being renewed within the sense of Christ. And then that is true, because today, as people grow more closer to Christ, the gospel spreads, but the spiritual warfare continues, because we still live in a realm that's controlled by a being that uses temptation to lure us against God. Also in the book of Revelation, from chapter 20, from 7 to 10, which is the final judgment, which speaks that Satan is released and is thrown into the lake of fire. His role ends forever, and God's victory is total and eternal. So that's where the sense that the new heaven and the new earth is created. And towards and pretty much the conclusion of this video is the fact that Satan influence is real, but it's very temporary, and that God always has been in control. And the story of the Bible is not Satan's world, but pretty much God's ultimate victory. And it's pretty much the timeline from Genesis all the way to Revelation, from the beginning to the end, and how everything's just constructed and build, and how we're able to see all these events take place. But then at the end, God has total victory. The creator that created everything that we live in has total victory. And a lot of people that may say that they don't believe in God, it's just the fact that, in my opinion, in my opinion, there has to be a creator that's here. I feel like what I just said is pretty much the things that sums up what Alwyn asked me. But I did have to do some research, and I did have to look up some verses just to make sure and it was pretty interesting, and it was fun, and I very much appreciate you for coming on that video. And if you want to ask more questions, I will be more happy to answer. I'm very grateful that you spoke your mind and that you put your opinion on that, so I very much appreciate it, and thank you very much. And for people that are watching, I very much appreciate it as well, and I just hope that y'all have a good night or have a good day wherever you are in the world, and just to be blessed and to always thank God for a new day to be born. And regardless of the situation that we're in, regardless of the situation that we're in, there's always certain things that happen for a reason, even though we technically don't know within ourselves. We just know the events that take place, but it's within God's will. So thank you very much for everyone. I will eventually post a new video, but we'll see where it goes. So thank you.